What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my hands-on and first impressions video of the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2023. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, the Moto G Stylus 2023 was recently launched, and as the name of the phone does imply, this device is the successor to last year's G Stylus 2022. Now, with this new generation of the phone, there's a lot of different features and various things I want to show you, so I'm looking forward to going over all of that throughout this video. Now, this device is actually very affordable with an MSRP of just $199 for the factory unlocked model of the phone, and I'm sure as time goes on, this phone will also be offered at various carriers. But for your convenience, I have left a variety of different links to the phone in the video description, so definitely take a look if you want to learn more. But before I get too far into things here with the G Stylus 2023, let's see what all comes included in the box. So here's the box, and you can see also that it does feature plastic-free packaging. And then included is some literature. We also have a SIM card removal tool, and we also have a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. Now, unfortunately, there is no wall adapter included, so you will have to get that separately. Now, with the Moto G Stylus 2023, we're getting a very large 6.5-inch display, and this display does feature IPS LCD technology. Another awesome thing about this display is that it does feature a 90 Hz refresh rate. However, one thing I noticed is that by default, and I'll go into the settings to show you this, it's not actually set to do the full 90 Hz at all times. It's set to auto instead for smart optimization. Now, that is a bit more efficient for the battery, but if you always want that faster refresh rate, you can manually choose 90 Hz. Now, with the 90 Hz refresh rate, things run a lot smoother here on the display, and overall it gives the phone a lot more of a premium feel. So certainly a nice feature to have. Now, one downside with the display on this phone is that it's only 720p, so no 1080p display. However, despite being 720p, I do feel like things do look pretty crisp and clear here. Now, the PPI with this device is 270, we're getting a 20:9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor, and we're getting an 84.5% screen-to-body ratio. So pretty small bezels all throughout, with the bottom bezel being a bit thicker. Now, I do appreciate with this phone though, that we do have a hole punch for the front-facing camera, and that front camera is 8 megapixels. Now, stay tuned for my full review video of this phone here on the channel, as I'll be showing you a variety of different photo and video samples from all the various cameras on the phone. Now, internally with this device, we're getting 64 gigabytes of storage, along with microSD card expansion. Now, I feel like overall, 64 gigs in 2023 kind of is the bare minimum, because you really can't use a phone at this point with 32 gigs, as the operating system takes up the majority of the space in that situation. So at least with 64 gigs, you can certainly get by, but also I do appreciate that you can always add in a microSD card to offload photos and videos, for example. Now, unfortunately, with this device, there is no wireless charging. However, we do have a fingerprint sensor on the power button. So we'll give that a try right now. And you can see that was very fast and responsive and accurate. Let's try that one more time. So there we go, very quick. And in addition to that, this phone does support Face Unlock. So I do appreciate that we have multiple methods for getting into the device. Now, on the back of the phone, we are getting a dual camera setup. There's a 50 megapixel main camera and a 2 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. Now, here's how things look on the camera app. This is the main rear camera right now. Then from here, we can switch over to the macro camera to get very close up and have things be in really good detail. In addition to that, there's some other features within this camera app. So for example, we have portrait mode for the rear camera and also the front camera as well. So that's great if you want to get those nice blurred out backgrounds that I know a lot of people are really into. And then also if you want to, you can take standard selfies without the portrait mode effect. Now then from here, we can slide over to the More tab and access a bunch of different features. You can see we have spot color, night vision, panorama, group selfie, also ultra res. So by default, the phone actually doesn't take 50 megapixel photos with the 50 megapixel camera. You will have to go here and choose that instead, but then in return for that, you can get some really nice, crisp and clear photos. But the reason why they don't make 50 megapixels the default is because photos in 50 megapixels will take up significantly more storage in your phone, and most people don't really need that. So at least you have that ability, but for most people, you'll probably stick with the standard default resolution. There's also dual capture, so you can capture with both the front and rear camera at the same time, which is really nice. And there's even, let's go back here, there's even dual video, so you can do dual capture video, so that's another awesome effect. And you can even switch between having the dominant camera be one or the other. Keep in mind though that video recording is limited at just 1080p with the front and rear cameras, so unfortunately there is no 4K video recording. Now internally with this device, there's 4GB of RAM paired up with the MediaTek Helio G85 processor. Now overall, that combination doesn't necessarily provide the best performance out there, but on the other hand, for an affordable budget phone like this one, you really can't ask for too much as far as performance goes. Now thankfully, for what we're getting here, this phone will be adequate for the majority of tasks you do on a smartphone, such as phone calls, text messages, browsing the web, some basic social media usage as well, and then also some lower end games too. But if you want to do more demanding tasks, or if you're someone that's constantly on your phone, then you might want to go for something a bit more powerful and advanced. So definitely worth keeping in mind there. Another limitation with this device and the processor that's in it is that there is no 5G compatibility. Now at this point in 2023, I think you can definitely get by with just 4G LTE, but on the other hand, I feel like if you're gonna go through all the time and effort of getting a brand new smartphone and setting it up and everything, you may as well get one that does support your carrier's latest and greatest network. Now fortunately, coming out soon will be the Moto G Stylus 5G 2023, so that's basically gonna be a more expensive, more advanced version of this device, but in return for that, you do get 5G support. Now I did run a benchmark test using Geekbench 6, and here are the scores that I got from that test. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and then compare your scores to these scores to get a better idea of how the Moto G Stylus 2023 compares to what you currently have. Because it is possible this phone could be significantly slower than your current phone, and you probably don't want that to happen. But overall, if you're coming from another budget phone, I do feel like this device probably will be a pretty solid upgrade for you. Now, this phone also features a very large 5,000 milliamp hour internal battery, so you'll easily get a full day, if not multiple days of usage on a single charge, which is a really good thing. And then as far as the software goes, we're getting Android 13, and Motorola has added in their own tweaks and additional features to the software itself. But in general, I'm a big fan of Motorola's take on Android because they're pretty much taking the best of stock Android, but at the same time adding in some bonus features. So not really changing things just for the sake of changing them, but they're taking the best of stock Android and making things even better. Another great thing too, from my previous experience with Motorola software, it does seem to be pretty much bug-free for the most part. I haven't really had any issues with other Motorola devices, with them being very buggy with the software, so I'm expecting that same experience here with the G Stylus 2023. Another great thing too with this device is that it does feature stereo audio, so when you're watching a video or listening to music, you're going to be getting audio out of both the main speaker and also the earpiece. And by having that feature, it will give you a much more immersive audio listening experience. Now probably the most disappointing thing about this phone, and something that I can't believe they're not including, is that there is no NFC. Now NFC is the technology that is used so that you can do tap and pay. So if you're using a service like Google Pay, for example, you can then use NFC to make those payments at pretty much the majority of payment terminals out there. So since there is no NFC with this phone, you won't be able to make payments by doing tap and pay. So I really wish we had that. And I also know that it's not that expensive to incorporate into smartphones overall. Of course, including it does still cost them a little bit more, but overall, I feel like that's a really important feature, at least for me. And I know for some people, they don't really care about that, but for other people, once they've been used to making mobile contactless payments with their device, they really can't go back to a device that doesn't support that. But moving on to more positive things about this phone, and the signature feature of the device, hence the name of it, we do have a stylus built in. So the stylus does feature a pop out, pop in design here, so that's really nice. It's very easy to remove from the phone, and as soon as you take the stylus out, you get this pop-up on the side, giving you a lot of different options. Now you can also add in additional apps of your own. The Play Store also has a variety of different stylus optimized apps as well, but basically from here, you can create a new note, and then you can start drawing. So I'm gonna write my name, get these pop-ups out of the way there. Kevin. So yeah, you can write notes, you can do drawings, you can doodle for fun. You can also just use the stylus for general navigation as well. So what I like about the Moto G Stylus series of phones from Motorola is that the stylus, well, maybe it's not necessarily always useful to everybody, or maybe it's something that you won't use every day. Having it doesn't really bring any downsides because it can neatly tuck into the phone. And then when you don't need the stylus, it's almost like it's not even there. So overall, I find it really convenient to have, and it is very useful in many ways. But taking a closer look at the hardware of the phone, this phone is made of plastic besides the display, which is glass. So plastic on the side and plastic on the back. However, I feel like they made the best of the materials that they had to work with. So what I mean by that is, this phone looks and feels a lot more expensive than it actually is. And I like this kind of frosted finish on the back of the device. It really doesn't pick up any fingerprints, which is really nice, especially compared to phones that have a glossy back on them. So overall, I'm a big fan of the look of the phone, the materials, and the whole fit and finish of it. Now taking a look at the left side of the phone, we have the slot for the micro SD card and SIM card. Then on the right side, we have volume up, volume down, and also the power button, which doubles as a fingerprint sensor. Then up top here, we have the noise canceling microphone. And then on the bottom of the device, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, microphone, and speaker, and then also the stylus. And then on the back of the phone, there's not much here, just the camera module with the flash, and Motorola logo. But overall, I'm really happy with the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2023 so far. I feel like this phone is yet another great launch from Motorola, despite some downsides to it, but in general, I think it is a really solid phone. Now, as time goes on, I'll be spending a lot more time with the device and uploading a variety of other videos about it as well, so definitely stay on the lookout for that content. But this is Kevin here with the Moto G Stylus 2023, and I'll see you in the next video. Definitely let me know what you think about the phone, and have a great rest of your day.